everyone, my name's Alice, aka Passports and Pixie Dust, and I'm usually found on Instagram and kind of TikTok, but I'm here to create some videos for YouTube. I love YouTube with my whole heart. I consume a lot of YouTube content and I felt I was taking out and not putting enough in. So we're here to change that. And today we are going to talk about DVC rental. Now, you might not know what DVC rental is. That might be absolute jargon to you. If you do know what DVC rental is and you're like, oh, it's really confusing, which a lot of people do say to me, or you don't really know what it is, or you don't know why you would possibly buy into it, then I'm here to change your mind, basically, because I am obsessed with DVC rental. I've done it twice now and fully prepared to do it for the rest of my Disney holiday career. So just to give you a little bit of background, DVC stands for Disney Vacation Club. A Disney Vacation Club was created to allow members to buy a little bit of Disney luxury. So you can purchase, it's like a timeshare. You purchase X number of points from Disney and then you can use those points against holidays annually. So you have what's called a use year. So you have a period of time where you basically have to use your points by every year. You can bank and borrow them, but we're not going to go into that. Your window opens up at 11 months out. You can book at your home resort within that 11 months. Say it's January and when you're wanting to go in November, you log on and you say, I want to book 12 nights at the boardwalk in a preferred view, and you find this is a very, very brief overview and not my field of expertise, but this is how I understand it and how I find it simple to understand. You log on, you see what's available, you book what's available, great, you go on holiday, no money exchanges hands because you've already bought those points. And you do that every year, every 2 years. However, I come along, I haven't got massive sum of money to put into this. I'm not sure if I want to be a DVC member. I don't want the commitment, X, Y, Z, those are my reasons. I want to borrow someone else's points, see what it's like to have the DVC holiday without the commitment. And that is where DVC rental comes in. There are a number of ways that you can book a DVC rental holiday. I personally prefer to use a broker because they take all of the stress, anxiety, fact checking out for you. And you basically log on to their website at your 11-month window. You have a look at their cost calculator. This is a really basic overview and I will go into a little bit more detail. You have a look at their cost calculator and it tells you at the top, there's a little key you put. So you have premium resorts, which are $25 a point. You have regular, which is $23 a point. And you have advantage, which is $20 a point. So you have a look at the dates you want to do. So say I want to do 2 weeks in September. I pop those dates in. I find the resort that I want to stay at. The resorts that are available to you are only deluxe. What a shame. They do vary slightly from the rack rate rooms. So they're a little bit different. So if you're very new to staying in a DVC room, I would recommend having a look at some YouTube videos. This is what we did. Having a look at some YouTube videos of the different resorts that you fancy versus your budget. So for example, Animal Kingdom Lodge tends to have excess availability and is one of the cheaper resorts. So they have what they call value rooms, which do go quite quickly, but then they have standard view, garden pool view and savannah view. So there are lots of different room types within the one resort category. So my recommendation would be is to just have a look at the list of resorts, then head over to YouTube, Instagram, TikTok wherever you consume your content. Obviously, if you're here, it might be YouTube. And then just have a little look and see what you fancy. Personally, we prefer a hotel type resort, so it's all in one building. You haven't got lots of different buildings. You're staying where, you know, everything is in the hub. That's the personal resort that we prefer, but you might like a kind of Saratoga Springsy type where there's lots of different buildings and the resort is much bigger. But please go and watch those YouTube videos. Have a look at a room finder. I find touring plans is really helpful, so you can see the views and you can see kind of generally where they are within the resort. That's also really helpful. My favourite resort is the Boardwalk. We also love the Riviera. Both are, so Boardwalk is actually really decent on points, but it's very, very difficult to get a standard view room. There aren't many. The preferred view rooms are, again, a little bit cheaper on points, but and then the Riviera is also a really lovely resort. But it is that kind of one building, one dream type resort. So yeah, go and have a look, and then once you've done that and you've decided, say maybe have 3 to 4 options. So you know what you're going to pay, you know when you want to go, and you know roughly where you want to stay. Now it will give you the opportunity to add a kind of primary option in. So for this conversation, let's say you want to stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge in a Savannah view room. You know roughly which room type, you know which resort. There are options to put in kind of backup. So say we're doing Animal Kingdom Lodge, Bay Lake Tower and the Boardwalk. So those are your options. You will then fill in the form, and it is a very simple form of where you'd like to stay, what room type you want to book, and you pay a deposit. It's around about $100. Which will come off your total should your reservation be successful. So you send it off to the DVC rental company that you want to use. I personally love David's DVC rental. I will link them in the description below. I think they are fantastic. They are friendly, they are helpful, they have lots of knowledge, really, really good, and I cannot recommend them more highly. They also, personally for me, come out at a better rate than some of the other brokers. There are other ways to do it, so you can rent off your friends if you're lucky enough to have friends that own DVC resorts but have excess points. There are plenty of Facebook communities that have rigorous processes in place where so you can find people who want to rent their points. I would recommend for your first time though doing it for a broker. It might cost you a bit more, but the process in my opinion is a bit safer and a bit more secure and just a bit more straightforward. If you're not sure what you're doing, they take all of the legwork out, and that's personally the way I prefer to do it. So you've sent your request off. They will then, as I said, go and do all the legwork for you. They will speak to owners. They will look at their database of pre-created owners who own at the resorts that you want to stay at. So we're at the 11-month point at the moment. So you have, the world is your oyster-ish. They will come back to you and they say, we've secured your reservation. You then pay the full amount. And that is one of the bigger downsides of renting DVC points. There is currently no way to monthly pay. Because you're renting the points from a person and they obviously want the money up front, you then have to give over the full amount, which doesn't work for everyone, and I appreciate that. But that is one of the downsides of renting DVC points, is you have to pay up front within 24 hours of securing your reservation, otherwise you'll lose it. The other caveat is they might come back to you and they might say, we're sorry, we weren't able to secure the reservation you requested. Here are the alternatives. And that did actually happen to us when we booked in January. So we stayed at the Boardwalk for a week, but we were only able to get 3 nights in a standard view room and then 4 nights in a preferred view room. As I said, the Boardwalk standard views are very limited. They consider them gold dust, and unfortunately we weren't able to get a full week in either room type. That is just something you have to be flexible about. but they did give us so many options. So they gave us options for other resorts, they gave us workarounds. They didn't just say, no, sorry, can't do that, and returned our deposit. We could have done that. We could have said, oh, none of this works for us, we'll have our money back, and they would have returned our deposit. Thankfully, we didn't need to do that, and we decided that we were happy with 3 nights in a standard view and 4 nights in a preferred view. That may not work for everyone, but there's just 2 of us, we haven't got children. So for us, that worked really well. So once you're happy with your reservation, whether you need to fiddle around with it to find what works for you, or you just get what you're offered straight away, great, all sorted. Then have 24 hours to pay. You will need to pay that in order to secure your reservation. You will then get your contracts through, you will agree to everything, and they will send you your Disney number. Your Disney reservation number is exactly the same as if you booked direct through Disney. You will go onto the My Disney Experience app or website and link your reservation, and that is it. You are then in exactly the same process as everybody else. You can request room type 60 days before, you can book all of your reservations as normal. When you're checking in, it will appear as if you're a DVC member. Obviously you're not. You do not have DVC benefits. But that's it. That is literally it. It is a slightly different way of doing it, and I know lots of people like to book packages, but if staying in a deluxe resort is something you've wanted for a long time, I would highly recommend it. I would seriously recommend it, because we have been able to stay at some resorts that I never thought we'd be able to afford. We stayed at the Riviera, we've stayed at the Boardwalk, which is my dream resort, and I've stayed there twice now. And we've also had the most incredible Boardwalk view, and that was all because we've also stayed at Old Key West. That was because I was able to rent DVC points, and it has saved me hundreds, if not thousands of pounds in rack rate costs. You know, for next trip, we're considering staying at Wilderness Lodge. We could stay at the Grand Floridian. We could stay at the Polynesian. It opens your world so much. As someone who absolutely loves staying at a deluxe resort, because I prefer the comforts, I prefer the resort style, the pools are nicer, they're closer to the parks, you have the extended evening hours. They're just such a dream. And for me to be able to do that as someone who is self-employed, running my own business, and still be able to stay at deluxe, it's just, for me, it's just life-changing. If you're the same as me, or if you've considered it, you don't have to do 2 weeks. You can do 1 night, you can do 5 nights, you can do 3 weeks, you can do whatever you want. It is super flexible. I'm aware that, as I said, you can't book it as a package, and you do need to book your flight separately, but lots of people I know do. And we personally have been able to fit our other holiday around it, and it's worked out absolutely fine. I've got 2 more points to make, and then I'll wrap this video up. Moving and cancelling your holiday. Now, obviously nobody wants to do this, nobody wants to go through this, but life does happen, and sometimes we do have to move our holidays. We've had to move our holiday because of COVID before, so we do know, you know, it does happen. Thankfully, David's DVC have a policy to cover that for when dreams have to wait. This is a fairly new policy for David's, and actually I think it's pretty incredible that they offer this, because the first time that we rented points from them, they didn't have this, and thankfully we didn't need to move our holiday on that occasion. But we're a military family. Nothing we do is ever certain till we're there. So we have to be aware that, you know, having a decent cancellation policy is very important to us. I would recommend that you have really good travel insurance, but also they do have this cancellation policy. You know, if you do need to defer your holiday, move your holiday, it is now possible, which I think is another incredible benefit of David's DVC. Of course, do your research, make sure the cancellation policy works for you, but just bear in mind that they do now have that protection in place that they didn't actually have before. So yeah, I would really recommend, again, just checking out, doing your research, having that travel insurance on top, just to make sure that if you have to move or cancel your holiday, you don't have that Zen guarantee that Disney have. So just make sure that you have plenty of protection in place just in case the worst should happen. And that's it really. That is a rambly version of how DVC rental works. As I've said throughout this video, I just think it's the most incredible eye-opening experience that has suddenly become available to me that you could ever wish for. Dreams really do come true, and as someone who loves to stay on site and loves to be in the bubble, I don't think it could be more perfect really. Let me know if you've got any questions in the comments. Happy to chat about it. Head over to my Instagram and we can chat there. I've got a couple of videos there as well. But honestly, if you're thinking about staying in a deluxe resort, do not do anything until you've looked at DVC rental. If you love a nice resort and you think, I'd love to stay at the Poly, but that's never going to happen, think twice, because it could. I'll leave everything linked in the description below. If you want any information, they have a really handy chat feature on their website, and they are really friendly and really helpful. So I would thoroughly recommend having a good look at their website, because there's loads of information on there before you take the plunge and book. But if you're already aware of DVC and you wanted to try it out before you go ahead and buy, again, I would recommend renting points first, because it will give you a really good idea of what it looks like to be a DVC member without the commitment. Thank you so much for watching. If there's any more topics you'd like me to cover, if you'd like me to impart any other, all of this knowledge in my brain, I would love to share with you. And I'm only 6 years into going to Disney World, but for me, it is something I love to talk about. So yeah, let me know what you'd like to see next. Give this video a like, drop me a comment, subscribe, because I am planning to do a lot more on YouTube. I don't know why I haven't done this sooner, but we're here now. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you real soon.